All right, so last night I was sitting here thinking to myself about an article that I had read earlier in the day about how much Hollywood has shifted from glorifying work to making it into what it is. The exploitation, the low wages, people unable to escape a system that doesn't seem to function in a way that's very human friendly. So, as of recent, people like yourselves, the people who watch these videos, have told me about the show Severance. And I have been talking about work in the way that the movie portrays work for many years because I always felt that you came in and you plugged in, which is the video you guys are going to be watching in a few hours, the longer version of this video, which I had never seen this article before I made that video. So, without further ado, let's get into the monologue. Hollywood used to sell us the dream that work was the key to success, but now every show is basically a horror story about having a job. Severance tells us we'd be better off splitting our brain in half to survive The Office. The Bear shows a man breaking down over a kitchen, and Squid Game straight up says we'd rather risk biting it than keep grinding for pennies. The message is clear. Work isn't just exhausting, it's a trap designed to keep us barely surviving while the rich get richer. But here's the question. If Hollywood is screaming, quit your job, dummy, then why are we all still showing up? That's a really good question. In fact, yesterday I got into it with my boss over Gen Z's terrible timing, his inability to keep to a schedule, and I pretty much had to yell at my boss and tell him Gen Z doesn't care about this job. Gen Z's been told over and over again when he's supposed to do what he's supposed to do, and he refuses to do it. And he tried to get me to be responsible for Gen Z, and I said, I'm not going to have this. I wrote my schedule on a wall in my office after my last review. This is where I am going to be during the day. And my boss just kind of tucked his head down and ran away. And I'm like, hey, you hired him, not me. All right, talking point number one, the shift from work glorification to work horror. Why? Because Hollywood knows people hate their jobs, and they're cashing in on that frustration. Not one day in my entire life have I ever walked into my job and thought, oh my God, I'm so glad to be here. I can't wait to start working. It's the exact opposite. There's so much work theater that goes on in any job, especially my job. I come to work, I turn on my computer, I go get a cup of coffee, then I go get a tea, then I go and I check what's going on in the front office. I gossip a little with my lady cougar friends from all over the corporation. I do a little work, I do a little bit more work. Oh, it looks like it's going to rain today. Well, that sucks. We're having a party at the corporation and rain wasn't on the menu. But we will be having a corporate pizza party today at exactly noon. And that's one of those places is where you show up and there's free, terrible food, and you know you hate it. You know you don't want to be there. And for me, when I see the Little Caesars pizza coming to the to being delivered to the building, I just kind of cringe and I think, you know what, I'm just gonna go grab a slice because it's free, but I'm not gonna hang out. I don't want to hang out with people that don't like me. I don't want to hang out with a manager that tells me to be grateful for a slice of pizza that tastes like an old shoe. That's the reality of the workplace is we don't like it. We've never liked it. That's why my channel has always tried to be a cross between 1984 and Fight Club. Because I'm here to tell you that unless you're willing to fight back against the system, you're going to keep going to a place you don't like for the rest of your life. You're not going to get to enjoy any aspect of your life until they put you in the pine box. And that's it. That's going to be the end of your miserable existence. Corporate pizza parties, phony mandatory fun during the holidays, having to participate in white elephants or ugly sweater contests, having to hang out with coworkers that you would rather hit the rope rather than than be around them. In fact, yesterday the the school president said to me, "Hey, Millennial Steam, why don't you get an apartment and then get Gen Z to be your roommate?" And I just pretended. I put my hand by the side of my ear, and I'm like, I would rather do that than ever spend a second longer around any of the Gen Zs. I mean, they're just. I don't know how other Gen Zs hang out with other Gen Zs. Like, some of them are just as miserable as I am. That's something that I've encountered in the workplace, is that there are a few sponge bombs out there, don't get me wrong, that are Gen Zs, but the vast majority of them don't want anything to do with the workplace. In fact, I think my next video is entitled something like Gen Z's Ghosting the Recruiters, because what recruiters have to offer Gen Z's not interested. And what Gen Z wants to offer to the workplace, well, if you're not willing to work for peanuts and work free overtime and pretend that you're happy all the time, well, no one's going to get anything out of that. Moving on to talking point number 2. Shows like Severance literally depict work as mind control slavery. But is that really so different from real life? To me, it isn't. I have to work very, very hard every day and most of the night. In fact, last night I spent so much of my night fighting, thinking about work, that I had to keep telling myself, no, 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 I'm not going to think about work. I was thinking about different scenarios, about meeting certain people today for the first time in the entire time that I've worked at this corporation, because they're having a corporate get together with all of the businesses today in one place, and that happens to be at my place. So there are tons of people that I've talked to for years and years and years that are going to come here. But as for the control, control is a word that is constant in all of my videos, because reality today is nothing about control. They control what you eat, when you sleep, when you work. Everything is about control. And when you think about the manipulation and exploitation that's added into the control, you realize that you don't really have many free choices. And I say this a lot, but think about how limited your work is. You have to work in a place that's, I would say, is somewhat convenient location wise to your home. The last thing you want to have to do is get on the I-17 and travel 35 miles north in rush hour traffic. That would be enough to drive a person insane. But also, you have to realize that there's so much surveillance and control in your daily life. We may put on our work theater, but don't get it twisted. Your boss is watching you. They're checking those performance reports. They're constantly looking to see if they can catch you screwing around or doing something they don't like. Because my boss brings this up all the time. It's like, remember that one time that I caught you helping someone, but it wasn't part of your job? Oh my God, that is one of his biggest pet peeves. Helping old people. He's like, well, you shouldn't help those people. Most of my job involves doing other things, helping people with furniture, helping people with the air conditioning, helping people clean, helping people set up for the parties, donating some of my furniture to the conference room so that they can have their parties. My job is about doing so many other things that my boss just doesn't understand. And you kind of just like look at him and think to yourself, well, what what's going on in that coconut of his? And nothing. When it comes to management, they live in as much fear as we do about losing our jobs. They know that they're just one bad day away from having to find something else, because when it comes to management, the entire eye of the corporation is on you, because the eye looks at you and then it looks at your department. And if your department isn't looking too hot, then you are a perfect reflection of it. You are the department. And when your department sucks, that means that you suck. And that's a tough, tough pill to swallow for a lot of management, because every single person in that department, whatever they're doing, However they're acting, whatever their performance is, it's your responsibility. So, so moving on to our next little bubble here. If work was actually fulfilling, would we need TV shows to constantly remind us that it sucks? We don't need TV shows to remind us that work sucks. We live it. We do it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, or up to 7 days a week. However many days you need to work in order to be able to feed yourself is how many days you're working. And no one needs to tell us this isn't a reality show. There's nothing about my daily life that would be interesting to watch. Watching me sitting at my desk for 8 hours, getting more stressed out while trying to manage so many different things simultaneously, while taking calls for purchasing, while doing tech support, while helping another person with another problem, while being asked to come to the offices to fix a computer that's not working over there, getting quotes on projectors, finding out why the wiring doesn't work in a classroom. My job is not worth watching. My job would be like watching a rat in a maze get electrocuted repeatedly with no way of stopping the being electrocuted. You would see a rat in a maze that it has learned helplessness, because all I can do is just lay down and watch it happen. There's no getting out of the way, and there's no telling myself, oh, you know what, this is a terrible job, I'm going to go find something else. When you make as much money as I do, you just don't say, I don't like this, I'm going to go find something better. Even Gen Z has been searching for another job for months and months and months. And every time they close the door at his face, it's based on one thing: 3 to 5 years worth of experience. The guy's worked in fast food his whole life. He doesn't have 3 to 5 years of experience in anything other than stocking shelves and working a cash register. That's his entire career. How do you give a job to someone like that who can't handle basic instructions to do certain things? You don't. And that's why corporations look at Gen Z not having that experience. Who cares about their degrees? If they walk into your job and you give them instructions on how to do a complicated task, but you're not offering any training, you're not offering any sort of additional education, you're not mentoring them, you expect them to show up on day one, be able to do the job, no questions asked, and you want it done perfectly. That's what the 3 to 5 years of experience means. If you show up at work and you claim to put this experience on your resume, the second you can't do something, your employer's going to become painfully aware that you lied on your resume. And it's not going to take more than 3 strikes before they realize that what you put on your resume to get hired isn't the reality of what you can do. And at that point, you're fired, just like The Apprentice. So, I'm going to leave it there. This is a short video today because I need to get to work early. I'm going to try to get this one up right now, so I may not put up the full description and make it nice. It's just going to go up as a video as is. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you have a great day. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and donate. Leave Millennial Steam $1. Show him that he's better than a panhandler on the side of the street, which is the job that I was born to do.